Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to Seeking Out Sunshine and my monthly favorites. I have picked 5 of my favorite coloring supplies for the month, and we are going to talk about them, review them, and use them. So I have picked 5 of my favorite coloring supplies for the month of May. They are supplies that I use throughout the month on my pages, the ones that I continued to pull and go back to. And I have 5 categories that we're going to look at. I have a rule breaker. I have a supply that I named the Learning Curve Sunshine to My Soul. I have my most used, I have new to me, and I have a showstopper. So those are the categories that we're going to go over in this video. I'm going to show you how I used each one in my pages, and then we're going to talk about that medium, and then we're actually going to use it in a page. So we're going to create a page together by the end of this video that is using all 5 of those mediums. I thought that this would be a really fun way to kind of tell you what my favorite mediums are currently for the month and get a little bit of a review in and just go a little bit deeper with some of our favorite coloring supplies. So here we go. The first one is the rule breaker. And the rule breaker this month for me was using eyeshadow. I have been using it in my coloring pages, but I really dove into it a lot more this month. I started out using it in just like background pages, and then, a little bit here and there for like skin and just kind of messing with it in some different ways. And then I moved on to actually basing entire pages with the eyeshadow. And I had so much fun learning how different mediums would go on top, how versatile it is. It's really easy to erase and work with for backgrounds and so forth. And so that is my rule breaker for the month. I used it on so many pages. As you can see, this entire page was based in eyeshadow for the background. I have a double page spread here too that I did. Sorry guys, let's find it. Here it is. Okay. This was all based in makeup, and it was just a joy. It was quick. It was fun. It allowed me to blend the different colored pigment eyeshadows together, and it was just a joy. But it is kind of a rule breaker because when you go to the art store, you don't see makeup as an option. You do see pan pastels and soft pastels, and that's kind of what I would compare it to. It's very similar. Although I don't feel like it's as messy. So, we'll see. We'll get into it here and we'll see. So the picture that we're going to color today is from the Art of Mushrooms. And this is the page that I have selected. So my 5 top mediums of the month will be used to complete this page. We are going to do the background of this with makeup, and that is going to be what we use our makeup for. I am going to use this eyeshadow palette right here, and we are going to dive into some of our blues. So I'm going to have this be a little bit more of a night scene since there appears to be stars out. I'm going to start with a light blue, and I am just using a pan pastel or a soft pastel applicator tool, and I'm just going to take this lighter eyeshadow color kind of all around the outside part of this mushroom. Now, this is not one of my favorite supplies, but I will tell you I'm going to be using my electric eraser because it is magic when it comes to getting rid of the eyeshadow on elements that you do not want it on. I learned that this month, and it became a very, very helpful tool. So if you have an electric eraser, that will come in handy when you are using eyeshadow. If you don't, a regular eraser will work as well. I just will tell you from having a regular eraser and then also this electric eraser, the electric one is so powerful, and I just think there must be some type of magic in it because it can get rid of things that my normal erasers, let's say, and even my kneaded eraser have not gotten rid of. So we'll use that here in a little bit and I can show you. But again, I'm just taking this lighter blue color and just kind of going around. But you can see how effortlessly this is going on the page. It's pretty simple. I believe that anyone could do this, a beginner, and who doesn't have an old eyeshadow palette sitting around that they can no longer use or that has expired because we never use all of our eyeshadow before it goes bad. This would also be really fun to give your kids. There's not a lot of I don't feel like it's super messy. Now, maybe not like a really small child that could get it everywhere, but obviously a little one who knows where the eyeshadow would go. Lots of fun. And I think that you would see so much creativity unlocked in your child to use this as a medium. I'm being very messy with it. As you can see, I'm not being super precious because I am going to go and use that eraser here in a little bit over some of the spots that I've gone onto. I did pick a pretty simplistic picture because my goal is that we get this all done today in this video so you can see how these 5 favorites of mine work together. I do use mixed media in my pictures, so even to say that I can only use these 5 mediums is going to probably throw me a little bit because I enjoy using lots of mediums and not being trapped to just a few. But as I looked over my color pages this month, I definitely saw some themes and what I kind of gravitated toward. And so I thought this would be such a fun way to kind of do a wrap up of the month, do a little bit of a show and tell of these supplies, and it's kind of like a little review. It's more so than me just swatching items and showing you. It's actually using them, talking about how I use them on my pages, what elements I use them on my pages, and what I've learned from that process. Okay, so I'm just going to switch this over since I already have the pigment on this side. I'm just going to switch this around, and I'm going to go into a little bit of a darker blue. And we're just going to start blending that into the current light blue color that's already on there. But you can also see that this is a pretty quick way to do a background. I know at the beginning of my coloring journey, backgrounds kind of intimidated me, especially if there was like a lot of white open space. And this just allows you to kind of freely go for it and not worry about it. You know, it goes down very easily. You can blend the colors out, especially if you're using colors from the same palette. They're going to be made with the same kind of chemistry makeup. And so they're going to go well together. You may find certain palettes don't combine well together, probably just depending on the type of eyeshadow and what the ingredients are. But I would also encourage you to find makeup palettes that have good pigments. And that doesn't mean that you have to spend a ton of money. I think this palette was maybe $15. It wasn't terrible. I'm actually using all the makeup palettes that I've been using are old palettes from my son is an actor, and so we've had lots of needs for different makeup colors for his characters on stage, and so we have had to buy all the makeup. But I'm just using old palettes that have expired that we no longer use on his face, but are great for coloring books. So I think that this palette was probably in the 15 or under. And there's lots of palettes that you can get in that price range. I would just go to the reviews on Amazon and just kind of see what the pigment payoff is and what people are saying. If you want to search up some different palettes, but there's plenty out there that you can get for a great price that have tons of colors. Again, I kind of look at this as a pan pastel for me right now. I don't have pan pastels, and so this is my option. This is how I'm solving that problem right now until the time comes where I can do that and I can add those to my collection. So, all right, I'm just kind of adding this middle color in around. Okay. And now I'm going to go in with my darkest color. Now this one does have a little bit of glitter in it, and sometimes this can add some trickiness when it comes to like blending it out. But for the most part, they work similar. The matte colors, you're going to get more of a soft pastel type of finish. And I would always test out and swatch your colors before you put them on your paper, because it's like anything. They can look like they would appear to be one color in the pan, and they are not once you put them down on the paper. So just swatch them out on a piece of paper, see how they kind of perform together, and then go from there. But I don't even know how long I've been doing this, but I don't feel like it's been a super long time, and I'm obviously talking, and so that takes up some of my concentration. But pretty quick background, especially if you have, larger backgrounds that you want to really dive into and have the whole background be something. This is a great option. And it's just fun to play with. I just think it's like, I don't know. It probably is because it makes me feel like a kid again. I used to use makeup all the time to create like Barbie clothes with my sister. When we were little, we would make clothes out of paper towels and Kleenex. We would use markers and makeup and all the things just to be resourceful, right? Our mom taught us how to be resourceful. When we didn't have something, it was how can you use what you already have to do what you're wanting to do. So I am very grateful for a mom who taught me how to be resourceful. And sometimes I think, to be honest, we have to get more creative when we don't have the supplies that we need or necessarily want. Like, it's good sometimes to have a wish list, right? Trust me, I have a never ending long wish list of art supplies because that's who we are. We're colorists, we're artists, we're creatives. And it all just speaks to our soul, right? There's no better place than like the art aisle, the supply aisle for us. But I do think it really pushes us to get more creative when we don't have a supply that we maybe see somebody have. And we just think, okay, how could I get that same look with the stuff that I own currently, with the supplies that I own currently, or the items in my house that I own currently. This month, I was looking around for other things that I maybe could use on my coloring pages, and I took my chrome powder that I put on my nails when I paint my nails to get that chrome effect, and I used it on one of my coloring pages. I was like, I just want to see what this would look like on top of some of my other supplies, and it was pretty cool. It's just about trying things out, being brave in that manner, finding books that maybe you try some pages out that you're like, I'm not going to be super precious about this book. I'm just going to have it be an experimental book, and we're going to see what happens. So I think that this is coming out pretty good. Love to hear what you guys think. Now, if I could use colored pencils, I probably wouldn't be as deliberate with some of these little spaces that are down here that haven't been colored yet, because I would just go in with my colored pencils and get those spots. But since we are only able to use the 5 favorite products of this month. I'm not able to do that. I'm going to try to really hold myself to this, guys. It's going to be hard because there's always something, you know, that you're like, oh, but now I can add this. So we'll see. Okay. Think I am liking that, and we're going to stop there for now. So I'm going to show you. So this is my AFMAT electric eraser. Again, it's electric, so it kind of works on its own. But I'm just going to go in and clean this up, and you're just going to be amazed at how it just takes care of everything for you. And we're going to go on top, obviously, with some other mediums. You guys should play like the guessing game. What's going to be the next medium that we use? If you've seen my completed pages, you might have an idea based on some of the mediums that I said I really gravitated toward this month. Or if you've seen some of my weekly whip videos, you obviously would have seen supplies that I was using there, because everything that we will be talking about today, I definitely used on my makeup page, or my makeup pages, my coloring pages. And more than once. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I used this supply one time. I used them more than once. Okay, let me grab a brush really fast here. But you can see how quickly we were able just to clean that up. Those little eraser remnants off. Okay, let me get the stem here. All right, so this is our rule breaker for the month, eyeshadow, and used as a background. I'd love to hear what you guys think about our rule breaker, and if you have tried it, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't tried it, are you going to try it on a coloring page this month? All right, let's move on. Okay, our next one is my learning curve and sunshine to my soul, and it was my Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s. So I used these just maybe once or twice, just kind of messing around prior to this month. They just intimidated me, I guess. I'm used to crayons, right? I was a Crayola kid who just loved to color with crayons, and these are not a normal crayon. They are a water soluble crayon. So you color them on your paper and then you activate them with water. And they almost become like this magic watercolor, which is just so fascinating to me. But let me show you how I use them in my pages this month. So the first one I did on my lemons and oranges as a background, and I just kind of took the pigment from the back of the crayon. Shelly over at Shell's Coloring Journey, this is where I saw that, where she just, you can even see the divot in this one, where she just paints directly off of the crayon and then puts it on the paper. And I kind of got this splotchy effect with my yellow and orange. So that was my first one. Then I jumped into Nightfall and actually did a couple pages in the car on a way to a soccer tournament. So I did this page, and everything is Neocolor 2. And then there are some gel pens on top with a little bit of pencil. And then same with this, Neocolor 2s on the sunflowers and the leaves, and then a little bit of pencil on top, but mostly my Neocolor 2s, full base of Neocolor 2s for that. Then in my Gnomes and the Neighborhood, I had 2 pages. This one, if you heard my monthly coloring page story about this, I started this one by just scribbling on like you would a crayon, and when I went to activate it, it would not move. So at first it was a hot mess, and then I just kept playing with it and kind of went in with the stippling effect, and I was able to salvage it. But this entire background is a Neocolor 2 background. And then I did this in one of my weekly whips videos to kind of show how you can take a blank background and create something out of it. So I created this sun behind this little gnome ballerina, and then this pink stippling background I did in the car. So it was really easy just to take it off the pink crayon and just do the stippling in multiple layers, and then adding a little bit of the flecks of the yellow and orange throughout as well. So that was another way that I used my Neocolor IIs this month. And then I had done all of those pages with this little set of 15 here. Was doing I was playing with them all the time. And so my husband surprised me with the full set for Mother's Day. And I did my first page with that set when I used him on this little dragon. So the background is not Neocolor II. Those are actually granulating watercolors by Gansey Tamby. But this little dragon, I used various blue, green, turquoise shades to do him. And I love how he turned out. So I was able to kind of try just more shades of one color and variations versus I just have minimal colors. But I would say that if you are just starting, don't buy the full set. First of all, it's expensive. Second of all, you need to see if you like them. So this is what I would suggest you start with, is this smaller set. You also can mix these colors. If you're really good at mixing colors, you can do that with this set. That is something that I'm not super good at. I'm trying to get better at how I can mix them on a palette and create new colors. But you could do everything you needed to do with this set in that capacity. But just make sure you like them first before you go buy a whole full set of them, because like I said, they're a little pricey, and you don't want to spend the money if you don't enjoy this process. I've learned from a couple colorists, when they sharpen them, they even save the shavings, which I have little like rhinestone containers that I will put the shavings in when I sharpen them, because then they'll use those like on a palette and paint with them. So like every part of this crayon can completely be used. And I don't know about you, I can't remember one box of crayons that I bought in my life that I used it from the start to the finish. So I think I'm set for life, but I'll let you know if something changes. Okay, so back to our coloring page for today then. We are going to do most of the elements here with the Neocolors. Now there is a Neocolor 1. I do not have those. Those are more like a crayon. They are not water soluble, so they will not activate if you have the Neocolor 1. So don't be confused by that. If you see those online, they are not the same thing. Okay, so here we go. So the full set does come with a little swatch chart. I did do this, but I will say that I think I need to go and do another layer. That is one thing about Neocolors, is you can layer upon them, and sometimes you need more than one layer. So don't be surprised, like if you do your first run through and you're like, it's not very pigmented, and I see other people getting these, rich, glorious pigments, you sometimes need to do another layer. It sometimes is dependent upon the paper that you're using, how much of the product that you put down, because you also don't want to put too much product down. That can kind of muddy up the paper and not really help the crayon activate to its fullest potential. So just a couple things that I have learned in my short time of using these crayons. All right, let's go ahead. I think we'll start with the mushroom. I'm going to see if I can get this laid out here a little bit better. And pick some mushroom colors here. We will do, let's do ochre, I think golden ochre, maybe a little bit of raw sienna, and then we need a lighter color. This one is orangish yellow. Okay, so these are the ones that I'm going to go for the stem of the mushroom. And all I'm going to do is just start coloring. Now, I am like barely pressing down on these colors. And the pigment is just coming off, and I'm just kind of doing really light circular motions. Again, it is a little bit of a learning curve to figure out how much of the crayon that you need to put down. It also can change on the paper. So important to have a test page that you can kind of try your supplies out on to determine before you go right into your own paper. or go into your page that you're working on, just so you're not messing something up that you probably could have prevented from trying something on another page. But I'm just trying to add some like highlight spots and then going around as the pigments get darker in spots. And then if you've never seen Neocolor 2's activated, it really does feel like magic. It kind of reminds me of when we were little. Well, when I was little. Some of you may not have had these. When I was little and had the water brush painting books where all you had to do was add water, they had like the little black specks all over, and it was actually paint, and it would activate it. And it was just like magic to your eyes when you're a kid, you know, and that book would just become full of color all of a sudden, and all you had to do is add water. That's how I feel when I get to use my Neocolor 2s. It's like I'm coloring like I'm a kid, but then I get to make it come alive in a whole new way. It's pretty awesome. Okay. And now I'm just going to take this darker color in a few spots where some of the shadow and shading would be. Just wherever you would pick the light source to be. I am not a light source guru. I am learning all about that in my coloring. So sometimes I just go where I feel like the color should be. Because again, the point is to have fun with this. I'm not turning it into an art class. I'm just trying to bring joy to my life, being creative. The other thing that's nice about Neocolor 2s is you can, like I said earlier, you can do multiple layers, and they will kind of like reactivate versus like a Derwent ink tints. That's more like an India ink, and when you activate those, like it's permanent. So there's different reasons to use both. Like sometimes the Derwent ink tints are really nice because you can activate it on a page and you know it's going to just sit and not move. Whereas, and then you can do layer upon layer with that and not have to worry about it moving. But this, if you want to do layers and build up, you can do that as well, and you're not like completely stuck. Or if something happens, you're like, ooh, I need to make a change, or I need to add something. You can kind of have a little bit more flexibility with something like a Neocolor 2. All right, I'm gonna just do a little. I sometimes do this kind of thing where I think, oh, this is going to add like a really cool shading, guys. And it doesn't. But we'll see. Because I'm just like that. I'm just going to try. Keep trying until you figure it out. All right. So next you need a water brush and a paper towel. Now you can use just a regular paintbrush with water. I just have found that I like the water brush. So I'm going to go into the lightest color first, and I'm just doing little circular motions to kind of activate that. And this isn't like the best quality paper, so I'm moving kind of quickly just because I don't want to completely saturate the paper. But you can see I've gone from the light, I'm going to the lightest colors first, because it will pick up that pigment when I get into the darker colors. And I'm just wiping it off on my paper towel just in case it has picked up some of those darker pigments along the way. But isn't that fun how it just like comes alive? Now sometimes I will take a spot, like if this has a little bit darker, and I will just come back and kind of do a little bit of tap motion just to kind of add a little bit more, I don't know, detail work It just kind of, in my opinion, helps it blend a little bit more versus like, okay, that's where that color started, that's where that color ended. I just kind of like stipple it out. I've just found that that kind of works for me. So play with them and find out what works for you. Okay. So, like I said, I could let this dry, and if I want to go on top and do another layer of these, I can. So that would work. I am going to go ahead and put those away for now. And then let's move on to the mushroom. Let's see. This one, I like this for the dark side of it. Go with this one. We need a lighter, maybe this one. Okay, so I'm going to use Desert Rose, Light Cambium, Ruby Red, and Crimson. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with the bottom of the mushroom being the darkest. And again, I'm just using really light pressure and kind of like circular motions. I'm not making it like, I'm not pushing hard. The pressure is not hard at all. And I'm just going to take this up until I think that that darker color would kind of fade out to the next color. So I'm going to go ahead and speed the rest of the mushroom up, and then I will be back when we do the next element. Okay, again, we're going to activate this, and I'm going to start with my lightest color up here on the top to prevent any like of the darker red colors getting into it. And then I'm just going to move down the page. Okay, I'm going to show you a little bit of how you can use the bottom of the crayon. So I'm just getting it a little bit wet, and then that is going to allow me to pick the pigment up off of the crayon directly. And then I might just stipple that into a few parts here and there. I'm not going to do a lot of this just because it would be a little time consuming for the sake of the video, but this can kind of show you how you could take the crayon in another capacity and use another layer, and think about it almost as what you could also do going in with pencils, because a lot of times I will go on top with my Prismas or another pencil just to add some further shading and depth and detail. But we're not, for time's sake, again, not going to do that today, nor can I use my pencils because the challenge is only using my 5 favorite supplies from the month. But that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of how you can just directly take the pigment off the crayon and apply it down to the paper. Now, I would probably also suggest, I'm not doing this again for time's sake, but letting the first layer dry before you do this, because again, it's just going to add more saturation and water to the page. But we are doing it for the sake of the video. So a little bit goes a long way, and you can just kind of see how it just adds a little bit more detail, some more depth, and so forth. But again, I could keep going on this, so I probably just need to make myself stop because I'll just get in a groove and I'll just keep adding more. Okay, let me go across the bottom here really fast, and then I promise I'll be done. Alrighty, stop, Ashley. Okay, so next we are going to go ahead and let's do the leaves. I'm gonna go ahead and show one leaf because then I'll do all of them the same, and we'll do kind of the same thing where I speed up the video just for the sake of time. Okay, let's go in with 201. And I like these darker ones maybe. I like this one maybe. 229. And yeah, 710. Okay, so let's try these 3. And I'm just going to do one, like I said, I'm going to do one leaf, and then I'll go off for a little bit and speed up the video, and then you can watch it a little bit in a faster motion, and I will be back. So for this leaf, I'm just putting the darker color. I'm splitting up the leaf into 2 parts where the stem goes through the middle, and on each part I'm putting the darker color on the bottom and just kind of following that line. And then I'm going to do the mid tone, the middle color, and kind of following the shape of the leaf. So how it like wraps, I want that color to kind of go up to mirror that, to mimic that. And then we'll go in with the lightest shade in the center. And I'm kind of blending it out through that middle color too. You probably saw me doing that a little bit on the mushroom, and I would take the color before and kind of blend it into that previous color. That just helps so that it isn't like straight lines of color. All right, so I'm gonna clean my water brush here. All right, so let's activate this one. And again, I started at my lightest color and then moved down to my darkest color. Same thing on the other side. Start on the side with the lightest color and moving down to my darkest color. And just look how pretty that leaf is. Love it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the leaves, and then I will be back. Okay, so we are going to do the flowers next. I'm going to do like an orange yellow flower. So for those, I have selected 50, 30, 20, 31, 300, and 52. So I'm just going to kind of use these. I will go ahead and do one with, and then we'll speed up the rest. So I'm going in with the darkest color. This is 52. And again, I'm just going to kind of go where my little heart feels like this color needs to be. and then add in the other colors. So some of the flowers I might use all of these colors, and then some of the flowers I'll use variations just to give it a different look. I'm not really worried about them all being the same, just more in the same color family. Again, light pressure. You don't have to do much with these crayons. They will show up on the page with very light pressure. Definitely not like a cheap off-brand wax crayon. Okay, I think I'm going to try a little bit of flame red. This is 50, just in a couple areas, not even on every petal. And again, you see me going back over that first color, and that's just going to allow it to have more blend and seamlessness versus just starting the next color where the first color ended. And now I will go in with Fast Orange. And next we will do golden yellow, I think. Let's see, what do we got? This is, yeah, we'll do golden yellow next. Give these flowers a pop of color on them. Just brighten up the tips of those petals. I'm going to go back with that, what was it, Fast Orange, and just do a little bit of shading on that petal. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with Orangeous Yellow. This is the lightest color that I selected. It's number 31. I am always thankful when supplies have labels because one of the supplies that I have today, well, actually a couple, but they don't have colors or numbers on them, and it is frustrating because I love the supplies, obviously, but it would just be helpful if companies would know that we need a way to identify them, right? Okay, so let's activate this flower together, and then we will speed it up a little bit for the other flowers. I'm just going to add a little bit more of this dark really quickly. Okay, here we go. So I hope you guys are enjoying this process of kind of seeing my favorites from the month. I would love to hear your feedback and what you liked, maybe what you'd like to see in the next one. I think it's a fun challenge to only use a certain number of supplies and kind of have it be limited. But again, would love your constructive feedback in the comments. Or if you have ideas for things that you would like to see, always open to hearing that as well. I think it's been kind of fun to just do something a little bit different from some of the videos that I have currently done, and a new fun way to use supplies and talk about supplies and whether I, enjoy them and like them or whatnot. Maybe I need to do a page with like supplies I don't like, although I don't have very many of those. So I would have to get a few more, I think, for my least favorite supply. Okay, one thing I really like about the Neocolors before I get off and do these flowers is I have been trying to work with watercolors more, and I feel like this gives me more of a watercolor effect with the blending and so forth that I am able to achieve currently with watercolors. I'm still working on that medium and know I can get there with some practice, but I feel like this is just a little bit of an easier method for me. So if you are somebody who would like to move down that line too, that is another reason I think Neocolor 2s are a lot of fun and enjoyable to use. All right, let's speed it up and do these other 3 flowers, and then I will be back. Okay, so those are the Neo Color 2s. I hope you enjoyed that little demonstration of them on the page. That is my second favorite supply of the month. And these are not in any particular order. It's more so the order that I have to use them on the page. But yeah, so second supplies, I'm going to clean up here and then we will be back for supply number 3. Okay, my third favorite supply of the month is also what I would categorize as my most used, and that is my Grabby. I don't know if it's Grabby or Graby. I've heard it both ways, but I'm going to say Grabby glitter gel pens. I have all 3 sets of the glitter gel pens because I am a little obsessed. I love these pens so much. They're super juicy. They work so well. I don't have any like tracking issues. The one thing that is my biggest complaint about these pens, and you'll see I have numbered all of them myself because there's no color code to them. They are just what you see is what you get, and good luck. So I numbered all of them and then created my own system for each set and what they are, and that is just how I've gone about using them. But that says a lot about how much I love them that I would do that and not just be like, oh, I'm just going to go to another type of glitter gel pen. So my first set I got were the jumbos, and then I got the retractables, and then I splurged on the 42 set. But yes, some of them you can see I have used a lot of the barrel of ink so far. I have yet to run out of one completely, but it is definitely one of my most used supplies because I usually find something on the page that I want to add a little sparkle to. I love a little sparkle and a little pop of, just that shine. So to go through some of the pages that I used them on this past month, in my lemon and orange page on my leaves there, you can see the green outline, and I also have some on my lemons and oranges, just some of that outline detail work. On these berries is the glitter gel pen. So lots of glitter gel pens used there. And on my pages in Nightfall, the first one, I used glitter gel pen in her hair. So if you can see the the purpley sparkle, that is one of the Graby glitter gel pens. And then there's a little sparkle on the leaves too. Same thing. And then also use them on this page. Again, on the leaves, around the flowers and the birds. I just love the subtle, beautiful sparkle that they give to anything. You really can use them on any page. It does not matter. And then I use them again on these 2 pages. So all of the water is outlined in various blue glitter gel pens. These leaves are all outlined. There's a little bit of sparkle on the moon and the comet and the stars. So yeah, so fun. They just bring me joy. I love it. I love the sparkle. I used glitter gel pens on her hair to give a little bit of a highlight there, and then also on the leaves. And then it looks like a little bit maybe in the yellow here as well. So wherever I want a little shine, that's usually where they end up. And then on my Fairy and Fantasy page, I outlined the leaves of the umbrella. You can see that subtle glitter. There's a glitter highlight in her hair with some of the yellows and light browns. Outlined the wood from the umbrella, and then more of the leaves down here. And then finally on my little dragon page, all of his little scales are outlined in the glitter gel pen, and then his spiny tail is it's actually CSY metallic paint, but it's outlined in a gel pen. So definitely get a lot of use out of these glitter gel pens, and we're going to put them to use today on our mushroom page. So I have picked out some pens that we're going to use from each of the sets just so you can see how they work. So I have a couple retractable ones. I have a couple of the jumbo ones, and then I have some from the 42 set. So I picked out these two just because I don't know. I really want a white jelly roll or a white gel pen to do the outlining on the mushroom here, but that's not one of my supplies, so I can't use it this month. So I kind of have been going back and forth. Do I do a darker or a lighter on the mushroom? So I was just going to test out each of these and kind of decide which one. They just are effortless, guys. They're so juicy and they just go on so great. Okay. I actually think I like, I don't know. I think I like the darker one just for a little bit more subtlety. I think that the silver might just be too much shine. So we're going to go with this 41, which is kind of like a gray brown, a grayish brown color. And we are going to outline all the little parts on the mushroom. So one thing that I will say about these is they take a while to dry. And I have learned the hard way that if you're not careful, you will smudge them. So I try really hard to start at the top of the page and then work my way down just so I don't get my hand messed up with glitter gel pen everywhere and smudge it all over my page. All right, but again, for the sake of time, I'm going to quickly go through the rest of the mushroom and then we'll go to the next element. Okay, I am going to go ahead and let that kind of start to set up and dry, and I am going to go on to the leaves. I've picked out two colors in the 42 set, number 21 and 22. I'm going to try out both and just see which one I think would be a better option. I'm going to go ahead and try down here. So that is 22. And again, you could number these however would make sense for you. These might just have made me a liar because this one isn't working very well. Oh, I've never had this happen, you guys. This is crazy. Okay, I'm going to do my little trick that I use for some of my other gel pens. If you take a little ticky tack, sometimes if you put it to the end, kind of closing off that airspace helps the pen flow. But this is nuts. I've never had this happen. It might just make our decision for us a lot easier. All right, well, stay tuned. I'll see if I can get that pen working again. I guess we're using 22 today. All right, here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of the leaves, which will take just a little bit of time. So hang tight and I will be back. Okay, next I'm going to go in with a retractable gel pen. This is the yellow. You can see I use this one a lot. And then number 13 for me on the jumbo one, which is kind of like an iridescent multicolored purple, which is really pretty. I'm still try to keep my hand out of the mushroom because I know it's probably not dry yet. That's another thing is like I said, it does take a little while for these to dry. So don't complete your page and then shut your book. You'll want to make sure that you leave it open so that it has time to fully dry. And so you don't get that glitter all over the page in front of it. But once it dries, I haven't had, I mean, it will transfer a little bit. So if you're super precious about a little bit of shine, then I would definitely put probably like a wax piece of paper or something between. But again, for me, the payoff is just so amazing on these that it's all worth it. All the drying time and everything else. All right, I'm going to finish this because I feel like I can't talk and do this at the same time. So I'm going to finish the butterfly, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish the stem. Let me just go over what I'm going to do. So I have the two browns from the retractable set, and then I have the orange from the jumbo set and one of the orange yellows from the 42 set for the flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of the glitter gel pen work, and then I will come back. Okay, so there is all of our grabby glitter gel pen. Hopefully that gives you just a better idea of how to use them on your pages if you haven't tried them before. But yes, love them, love all the sparkle and the shine that they give. I'm going to go ahead and clean up my gel pens and get ready for the last two favorite supplies, and we're going to finish this page off. Okay, so my next favorite of the month was kind of a little bit of a surprise to me. It is what I would classify this month as new to me, and it's the Super Golden Pen. This is an extra fine tip. It's a 0.7 millimeter. I saw this on Coloring with Maya's channel, but it is awesome. You get a pack of 5, and it just has the pressure tip that you have to get going, and then it just is amazing, and it makes it so much easier to do some of the work that I normally try to do with metallic watercolors, and we're going to use it today on the border of our page. But like I said, I did get this toward the end of the month, but I fell in love with it right away, so I had to throw it in here with my favorites. A couple pages that I used it on was the border of this Little Mermaid page in my Hannah Enchanted Faces book. And then you've already seen my dragon page, but also to line the black line, go over the black lines for my little dragon page in my Camilla de Erica book. So, like I said, we're going to go ahead and outline the outside of our oval for our mushroom page and use my new to me favorite supplies, my Ho2 Super Gold marker. Okay, so this marker is so easy to use. Like I said, you just pump it to start it, and you do have to repump it every so often. But I love how opaque it is, and it does cover black lines, which is fabulous. And it has so much shine. And I believe Maya said that they have a silver one too. I'll have to look into it because silver would be another wonderful color to have. But they are nice and juicy. And it is nice. You don't have to pump it like every 30 seconds or anything like some of the pens I have tried. It does stay pretty, the flow of it stays pretty great for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and then we'll come back and we will do our last favorite supply of the month. Okay, and then for our final favorite supply of the month, if you've been around here for a little bit, you probably have already guessed it. It is my showstopper supply, and it is rhinestones. I'm a rhinestone girly through and through. I love them, and I put them on my pages almost any chance I get. So here are some of the ways that I used rhinestones throughout the month. Anywhere I can add extra sparkle and shine, I am going to do it. In fact, I realized during my completed pages that I did not put rhinestones on her little headpiece, and I went back and did it after the video. So we're going to go ahead and include that one. A couple more on that sweet gnome ballerina. And then my sunflower page. Lots and lots of rhinestones. So that is going to be our final touch for today. I've picked out a couple of my bigger rhinestones for the centers of the flowers. And then this is probably one of my favorite rhinestone palettes to use on my coloring pages. I just got this off Amazon. It was like $14 or $15. And then I use what's called a katana to take the rhinestone and hold on to it here and put it on the glue here. The glue that I'll be using is the B7000. And I like this because it has the needlepoint dispenser, which is awesome. This needle top applicator too is really great because it keeps it from drying out. So that is a plus. I just like to put my rhinestones in a little container, and then I'll just pick them up and move them onto the glue dots, and again leave it open while they dry, and less is more on the glue. Kind of like you're in kindergarten again, you know, dot dot not a lot. And so forth. So I'm just going to kind of go through that process of putting some of the stones down. I know this video is probably getting a little lengthy, and if you're still here, I so appreciate you. But yeah, let me go ahead and get the stones on, and then we will wrap it up. Okay, so this is the page that we were able to create with my 5 favorite supplies of the month. My rule breaker, my makeup, my learning curve, my Neocolor 2s, my most used grabby gel pens, my new to me, my Ho2 Super golden pen, and finally my showstopper rhinestones. What were your 5 favorite supplies this month? Could you create a page with just those 5 things? I'd love to see if you do in the comments. Please let me know what you thought about this video format, if you like this, if this is something you would like to see in the future. I had so much fun spending my morning with you and just celebrating my 5 products that brought me so much joy over the past month. I'm looking forward to starting my coloring for the month of June and can't wait to see all of your wonderful pages to come. So I am going to send you all of my love and light. Bye for now.